Hello, my name is Wayne Rasso with Briggs Stratton, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to choose the right lawnmower. Now, Briggs Stratton builds a variety of engines on a variety of outdoor power equipment products, many of which you will see here today on the brands that we're going to showcase for you, in taking a look at what's the proper mower for you to choose for your particular needs. Now, before I get started, I want to remind everybody out there that we are taking your emails, your questions. So if we don't cover a subject matter thoroughly here today, or you have any other questions, you can email it to the yardsmarts.com website. So let's get started and talk about what we're going to cover here today. We will talk about how to choose the right lawnmower by looking at the features and benefits that each one of the mowers we have on display here today possess. We will also talk to you about, once you've bought your lawnmower, what you'll have to do to assemble that lawnmower to get it to an operational state to cut your grass. And finally, my colleague here today, Sanava Shaw,
Hello.
will share with you some pertinent maintenance tips to keep the product running properly for the years to come. So as you can see here, we have a variety of lawnmowers that the consumer has to choose from. Now, I'll say this, they all cut grass. They'll all get the job done as far as cutting grass. But which one is the right one for you? Well, let's first talk about price. You'll notice the model that I'm standing in front of right here is what we refer to as a low-cost, plain Jane, no frills, no major features or benefits to it, push walk mower. In other words, you have to push to operate this walk mower. In the category of product we're looking at here, you're looking at a $130 retail price. As we step up and move along with Sanava here, and you get into what I'll call the medium category here, 22-inch, 6.5 foot-pounds of torque models, you're talking about a $200 to $250, $300 price range for these particular models. They're available in push and in self-propel, as we'll review in a few minutes. In Sanava, if you'll go to the end,
Okay.
when you move up to the premium category that we have shown over here with the John Deere and the Snapper NXT, you have a product there that you are looking at $500 to $600 of retail price. So there's a product to fit most nearly any price tag. With that, let's talk about what's the most important decision in the purchase of a lawnmower.
Your most important decision when you purchase your lawnmower, Wayne, is your engine. What type of engine do you need to get the job done?
You're absolutely correct, Sanava, and we're going to talk about engines. Engines, first of all, is what gets the grass mowed, what gets the job done. You're going to note that most of the engines that you're shown here today are referenced with a number. In the case of this one right here, it shows 4.5 foot-pounds of torque.
What's torque?
Great question, Sanava. Torque is a rotational force or twisting action that engine is capable of performing. Remember, we are talking about walk-behind mowers here, and torque is a more accurate measurement in what that lawnmower is capable of doing. So in the case of this one, as we indicated, it has 4.5 foot-pounds of torque, and it's operating a 20-inch mower deck. Versus the one that you're standing next to, Sanava, which is a 6.5 foot-pounds of torque, and it has a 22-inch frame on it. Common sense tells you that the larger the deck, the larger the engine has to be. Common sense also holds true in this is, as that foot-pounds of torque number goes up, the more power the engine can create, thus the more grass that can be cut in a given period of time. And that's what it's all about, getting the grass cut to the needs of our consumers. So with that, there are some other features on engines we'd like to chat about. For example, the starting systems. In the case of the model that you're standing in front of, the Brute model there, you'll notice it's a Ready Start version engine. Well, let's tell the audience what that means. In most traditional engines, you have to prime and or choke the engine in order to get it started. In the case of Ready Start, Sanava will demonstrate you simply pull the bail back and you pull the rope. There's no variable, there's no primer, there's no choke. You simply pull the rope and the engine's guaranteed to start within 2 pulls.
Easy.
So the Ready Start feature is an absolute easy feature because if you can't get it started, Sanava, you can't cut grass.
Right.
In addition to Ready Start, If we'll take a look at the John Deere model over here, you
Okay.
have electric start, key electric start.
And what does that mean?
That means you simply depress the bale assembly as we talked about before and turn the key that's on the dashboard there, and the engine will physically crank itself over as you tried to demonstrate,
Wow.
and it will start the motor up.
Excellent.
We even have newer models like the one on the end, the Snapper NXT mower there, where it is called push button
Yes.
electric start. Much of the new automotive cars have a push
Yes.
button. We've incorporated it into a
I won't
lawnmower.
push it all the way this time.
Please
Don't
don't.
wanna-
Please don't. So you can see there's a variety of starting opportunities that you
Yes.
have as a homeowner in choosing a lawnmower. So when you move into the premium aspect of the walk-behind mower market, you're looking at a heavier gauge steel deck. You're looking at a product that has ball-bearing wheels. In the case of this, it has a sight gauge for your fuel, an 8.75 foot-pounds of torque engine, the largest power band in its class in a walk-behind mower. And Sonava, this one
Yeah.
even has a computer
Wow.
that will aid the customer in identifying when to do their maintenance intervals.
That's nice. Very nice. What are these red handles for, Wayne?
Those red handles allow the operator to maneuver the speed or change the speed of the walk-behind mower as fast and as slow as they want to go.
Wow.
So it varies the speed of the self-propelled mechanism, making it easier for any operator to feel comfortable behind the lawnmower.
Wow. I see why this is the cream of the crop.
You get what you pay for.
What you pay for.
Now let's talk a little bit about some of the considerations you need to think about prior to buying a lawnmower. Number one, the terrain of your yard. Why is the terrain important? Well, if you think about it, if you have a flat yard, it's no problem pushing a push lawnmower on a flat piece of land. But if you have hilly or slopey terrain, obviously it might benefit you to look at a
Right.
self-propelled version of
Right.
that lawnmower to help power that lawnmower
Right.
throughout the hills and the terrains of your property. The number two thing you want to think about is the size of your property. Generally speaking, walk-behind mowers of this nature are adequate to cut up to about a half acre. Once you get beyond a half acre of grass to mow, you'll want to take a look at a riding and/or lawn tractor product to fulfill your needs on a timely basis. Number three, your personal physical needs. Think about it for a minute. You have to ask yourself if you're capable of pushing this
Right.
20-inch lawnmower
Right.
on a half-acre property of grass
Right,
and the time that it would take.
Right.
Versus if you're coming up in those golden years, you might want to consider a self-propelled version like the one that I'm behind right now to help push and propel the product so you don't have to exert the effort to
Exactly.
push it.
Make it easier on yourself.
The last question that I would ask you to ask yourself is, what else do you want to do with the lawnmower? In other words, they all cut grass. That's simple and straightforward. But do you want to side discharge your grass, as you see on this traditional model right here? Or do you want to rear bag the grass, as the one that Sonava's standing behind there? The obvious situation here is the grass is going to be discharged instead of broadcasted across your yard into the bag, where you could remove that and get rid of it in a compost pile,
Right.
for example.
How often would you have to remove the bag, Wayne?
Sonava, it's really dictated by the grass and the conditions of that grass you're cutting. For example, if you're in the middle of the summer when the grass is not that thick and lush, doesn't quite get as tall either, or by the time you cut it, you might change your bag 2-3 times on a standard 3rd-acre property. Versus the springtime of the year where you're going to be changing it probably twice as much because the grass is much thicker,
Right.
much lusher,
Right.
much greener.
Wayne, that's one thing we didn't talk about are the wheels, the larger wheels on the back of this unit.
You are correct in that the wheels have an effect on how easy the product is to maneuver. As you're demonstrating, you will note that if you push that model with the bigger wheels on it versus the smaller model that you see here, you will have you will have an easier time on the
Right.
larger wheels of maneuvering that product around specifically rough yards.
Okay,
Is where the
great.
big wheels really play an advantage.
Okay.
One of the last mower options you have when you talk about the grass being cut is the new mulching style decks that are available out there. The deck on this one, you'll notice, does not have a side discharge area. You are capable of rear bagging it, But in the current state it's sitting in right here, it's a mulching deck. Let's talk about what that means. Generally speaking, the blade as it's cutting the grass is also suspending that grass up in the mower deck, allowing that grass to be cut and cut repeatedly until it's in fine clippings, thus providing basically a fertilizer for your yard. So mulching has become popular. Most of these models offer a version in a mulching deck option.
Great.
Let's talk a little bit about where you buy your lawnmower and what that might mean for you. We talked about those 4 questions you have to ask yourself: your terrain, your yard size, your personal needs, and what else you want to do with the mower deck. If you end up visiting a local lawn and garden dealer, you'll more than likely have a professional salesperson address those particular questions with you to help you pick the lawnmower that fits your particular needs. Versus if you go to a home center, you may want to do your homework prior to making that visit, so you have an idea on what lawnmower is going to fulfill your particular needs the best.
Right.
I think we're at the point where we want to take a minute and show the audience what it's like to assemble a lawnmower once they've purchased it. So I'll wheel this out.
Now move these out of the way here.
Now if you buy a lawnmower in a box like the one we have here, you obviously have to take open the box, tear it open. Inside the box, as Sanava is grabbing, there are a variety of pieces of information. There is what we refer to as a quick reference setup chart. That's what we're going to cover here today and showing you how to assemble the walk mower to make it functionable, cut your grass. Also, one of the most important pieces in the box that you want to make sure you keep for reference material is called the operator's manual. In all intents and purposes, this will tell you everything about the walk-behind mower that you purchased, how to operate it, how to maintain it, any reference numbers and or service information that would be pertinent for you to take care of as you operate the piece of machinery.
So it's important to keep this in a place you'll remember where you put it so you'll have it handy.
Absolutely correct. So with that, Sanava, let's take a minute and hoist this rascal out of here.
Okay. Good thing I ate my Wheaties this morning.
Amen. Amen.
Boy.
Okay, let's move the box to the side. Now, it's quite obvious the first thing we have to do is flip the handlebars up, but I noticed by flipping the handlebars up, we have a quart of oil here. That might be important as we proceed forward.
It will be important.
All right, Sanava, while I flip the handlebars up and simply remove the wing nuts I'm going to do here, why don't you cover with the audience the importance of setting your cutting height?
Okay. When you purchase your lawnmower, your setting gauge bars may be in the lower position, and you may want to pull those up by pressing out and pulling in to a higher position for your first cut so that you can get comfortable and have the height that you want when you're cutting your grass.
Makes sense. Generally, they're in that lower position for packaging purposes. So we want everyone to be aware of that. Now that Sanava has the wheels done, I'm going to stick the bolts in through the handle assembly. Now the area I'm picking to put it through, because there is a 3-slot position on this arm assembly, is the handle height that I feel comfortable with. Okay? So once we get the bolts in, it's simply a matter of threading them in the proper position and securing the wing nut tight so that the handle assembly is securely fastened. You also have the secondary handle assembly that needs to be tightened up, as I'm showing you by these wing nuts. And for all intents and purposes, we have a walk mower that is now ready to go.
No, not quite.
Okay. What do we got to do?
You got to take this plastic off the top here, and it's very important before you start cutting, Wayne, to check your oil. Most units are not shipped with oil in the engine, so it's very important to check your oil. And you do that by twisting off your dipstick, which is located here, and pulling that out. And you will notice on the dipstick there's no oil in it. So you take your provided bottle of oil, and you can use a funnel or pour it in if you have steady hands, and pour it into the drain and use the whole bottle. This is enough oil for your engine. You don't need to add any more oil. Use what's provided and you're good to go. Do not over oil it or overfill it or you'll damage your engine.
So just to clarify, that bottle of oil shipped with the engine is the exact amount of oil that belongs in the crankcase.
This is the exact amount. No need to add any more or you will damage your engine, something that I know about. So,
and if I don't add the oil,
you can damage your engine because there's no oil in it and it will blow up the engine. So
absolutely
very
correct.
important to use your oil. So once you've added your oil in, you just replace your dipstick. Then you may want to pull it out, wipe it off, and check your level again to make sure everything is good.
Point.
And put that back on there.
Okay, after that, a bit of gas, and I believe we are ready to mow.
Not quite. Well, you want to treat your gas. Make sure you treat your gas with fuel stabilizer before you go, before you're ready to mow.
And fuel stabilizer keeps
your gas fresh for up to 6 months.
Okay.
Because gas can go stale in about 30 days.
And you want to treat that when you buy your gas.
When you buy your gas.
Very
Absolutely.
Good. Very good. So let's move ahead a little bit in time and assume that now we've put a year's worth of use on this product. So Navi, you want to give us a few tips on what the average consumer needs to do to keep their lawnmower running properly year after year?
Sure, Wayne. What you want to do after the first year of mowing is you want to perform a tune-up. And you can perform a tune-up with a tune-up kit that comes with everything you need to get that engine running. The tune-up kit comes with a bottle of oil, your replacement air filter, a replacement spark plug, a bottle of fuel stabilizer that we were talking about earlier, and instruction sheets. If you don't want to buy the tune-up kit, you can buy the parts separately. So, in performing a tune-up takes less than 30 minutes, and a kit for a basic walk engine is under 10 bucks. So it's inexpensive, easy to do, and it'll help keep your engine running smoothly. So it's important to do that every year.
Excellent. So we changed our oil, I heard you say.
Yes, you changed.
What do we do with that dirty oil, Sonata?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. What you want to do is change your oil into an oil pan or safety container enclosed, and you take it to a local Briggs Stratton dealer. And you can find your dealer at briggsandstratton.com, and you click on the dealer locator. And the dealer will take, the Briggs Stratton dealer will take that oil for free and recycle it. It's convenient, it's easy, and it's good for the environment.
Very
so
good.
Something that we should keep in mind when changing our oil.
It's great for the environment. It's the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
Well, that's our presentation, but I understand that there are a few questions that have come in while we have made our presentation. So now, if you grab those for us.
Sure will. Thank you.
We'll attempt to answer some questions for our audience today.
Okay, let's see here. The first question is from Rich. Rich is down in sunny Tampa, Florida. His question is, I'm sorry, Rich, about that. Let's start over. Are lawnmowers quieter now? I'm replacing a 12-year-old mower.
You know, Rich, you make a valid point. The simple answer is yes, but let me explain what I mean by that. And the models that we have on display here will give you a perfect example. If you take a look at the 4.5 foot-pounds of torque engine on the lower price point model, you will notice a muffler size that looks much like this versus the muffler size you'll see on the 6.75. Bottom line is, yes, technology has allowed us on the newer products, Ready Start version products, Professional Series products, to incorporate a better muffler system, i.e. creating a quieter engine. So the bottom line is, on the older technology products, you're going to find some of those smaller mufflers, but on the newer models, you're going to find a much more quieter decibel level to the ear.
Good. And to your point earlier, your lower end more to the higher end more, your higher end more is going to be quieter. So
quieter, smoother, so you get what you pay for, as we talked about before.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, our next question is from Cheryl. And Cheryl is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And her question is, what's the best gas to use in my lawnmower?
Well, Cheryl, all four-cycle combustible products that you're going to see in lawnmower applications are going to recommend 87 octane fuel. It's the regular fuel at any of your gas stations. I will make a mental note, though, to tell you that E85, the newer ethanol fuels that are out there, are not recommended to be ran in these products, and our gas caps, in most cases, indicate that.
Very good. You're right. Let's see. Our last question is from, let's see, I said Cheryl. Our last question is from Lynn from Arlington, Texas. And her question is, she has a 3-year-old lawnmower. It's hard to start. Is that unusual?
Well, Lynn, by it being 3 years old, I'm going to make a few speculations. If you didn't treat the fuel before you put the lawnmower away last year and you didn't drain the fuel out of it, there's a high probability that that fuel has gummed up in that carburetor and is preventing it from starting.
Right.
One of the other possibilities that could have happened is if you haven't performed that maintenance, that tune-up that you spoke about earlier,
Exactly.
you could have a foul plug or you could have a clogged air cleaner that could be preventing it from starting.
Right.
So my recommendation would be check your gas, treat your fuel, have a tune-up done by either yourself in the convenient format that Sanava pointed out and or a local dealer.
Great, great. Well, those are the questions.
Those are the
we have.
questions?
Yes.
Well, with that, then I'm gonna remind you once again that emails are being taken on the yardsmarts.com website. They will be answered and answered to you via email. And
I think that's it.
I think that is it. So happy mowing, and thank you for participating.
Have fun.